No. Geographically? Geographically. This is cool. So I would say make sure that pretty face is showing.
Yes, true.
They're going to want to see that fucking thing. They're going to want to see that fucking thing, Alan. That fucking face. You good? Ready? Gentlemen, welcome back to another special episode of the Hyperconscious Podcast. Just to tell you now, we're going to try to keep this to a half hour because we are going to the gym with our good friend Minnie But Mighty after this. She was on a previous episode, and you should go listen to that right now. Bye.
Yes. Catherine Nash. We'll see you at 7. We're going to get a good podcast in real quick before we head to the gym.
Yes, we're hitting back today.
Truth.
So what are we going to talk about today, Alan, as you slam that water?
So you and I were talking at the end of the other day.
The other day, yeah.
About how it's difficult to chase your dreams and to do things that are outside of the box because you're going to get a lot of feedback.
Yeah.
And feedback, there's a great quote by Tim Grover, who wrote the book Relentless, Michael Jordan's trainer. I always shout him out. He said, the only difference between criticism and feedback is how you take it. I think it's difficult to take feedback because it's from a lot of different sources. And how do you stay true to your own path when the people around you may or may not have your best interest at heart? They may or may not have good advice or bad advice. What they're saying may have merit, it may not. How do you wean through this storm of feedback?
It's tough. I think so. We were talking about the big takeaway from the whole thing is you have to do what's in your heart.
Yeah.
Because, and I asked you, I said, would you rather listen to somebody's advice that you didn't believe and succeed? Or would you rather go down swinging with like your own, I'm not going to sell out to succeed.
Yeah,
you know
nor am I.
So I'd rather succeed on my own merit.
On your own terms.
Or die along the way, but being me. I want to be organically me at all times. Yeah. So it's like when somebody gives you advice, maybe it's against your belief system, or maybe it's coming from a self-conscious place. Because obviously you want to do big things. I want to do big things.
Of course.
That can make people feel a number of different ways. Either that motivates them into wanting you to do it, or it can scare them away. Or, so how do you know? It's easy with you and I because I feel like we genuinely have each other's best interests at heart. Like I want you to succeed regardless of what that means to me.
Same.
And I think most of the people in our lives are like that.
Yeah.
That's why we have those people in our lives.
Yep.
But that doesn't mean that they're always consciously doing that.
Yeah.
So how do you know what advice to take? What advice to graciously say, no thanks, I don't think that's in line? Or how do you know, is there ever been something that you've actually taken and has worked better than what you thought would work? What a long fucking question that was.
Yeah, but it's good because even right now, this is a very tricky concept because we've all had instances in our life where we did take good advice and it worked out great. We've all had instances in our life where we took advice and it didn't work out so well. I think at the end of the day, whatever feedback you choose to take, whether it's a friend, a family member, an intimate partner, a mentor, a coach, you really do have to own it because once you take action on it, it's yours.
Right.
And no matter what happens, no matter who told you what you should or shouldn't do, you chose to do it. And being aware of that, I think, is super important. That said, there have been instances in my life where I don't think I'm very different. I think I'm very unique, not very normal. So what comes with that a lot of the times, especially when you're so far outside the box, quote unquote, for lack of better phrasing, is a lot of people think you're crazy or think that you're delusional or think that, you're aiming too high or that it's never going to work out. But if you believe them, then it's never going to work out.
Right.
You know, so what I always try to default to is I'm going to do what I'm most certain about. And what do I mean by that? When you say you got to follow your heart, like, what does that mean to you?
So I break it down to the 5-second thing. Like, when something comes to me, before my ego kicks in,
Yeah.
and I start thinking of, oh, that's a long ride, or what if this, that's what your heart's telling you. Like, if your heart, you know what I mean? That's the most pure thoughts are the ones that happen and then you act on immediately, because they don't have any, there's nothing that has tarred them.
Yeah.
You know, like if I was like, oh, you know what? It would be awesome if we went to Miami this weekend. Let's fucking do it. Let's just do it. And then we just book tickets right now. Problem solved. But if we wait till tonight, it's like, you know what, man?
Yeah.
Well, no.
There's a lot of reasons not to go to Miami.
Right. It's going to snow. And obviously that can be a good thing too. If you actually like think deeper about something, you can figure things out. But I think you know that feeling you get when you know you should do something.
Okay.
And I don't mean should as in like you have to because somebody else is telling you to do it. Like there's a feeling I get that says like when I'm at the gym and I see the punching bag,
oh yeah,
I get this feeling, this pull towards it. It's like I got to go hit that now.
Yeah.
And
so
it's
how do we articulate that for people? Like, what's that feeling like? How would you describe it? I know it's so difficult to describe.
This is it.
Yeah.
This is it. And this used to happen a lot when it comes to women. I have high value in women. I value a lot on women.
Yeah.
Women are one of the things that are important to me.
For sure.
Right? If you would regret not doing it. So I would see like a pretty woman at the bar and I wouldn't say anything.
Yeah.
And I knew I would regret it later. There's a reason I would regret it later, because in the moment my heart was like, look, you just should do this.
Yeah.
You should
and
just
then you
do
let
this.
the fear get in the way.
You let the ego, the fear, the machine get in the way.
Yeah. The machine. Interesting.
Yeah.
Don't feed the machine.
Don't feed the machine.
So what's an instance where you had someone try to tell you, your heart was telling you to do something and you knew this was the right move, but people that you care about, that you value, and you value their opinion, you know they're intelligent, you know they could be seeing something you're not, told you don't do that.
This fucking
How did you deal with that?
Podcast.
Okay, perfect.
So
glad you followed your heart.
I absolutely. I'll give a shout out to my Mima, my grandmother. She's an amazing person. She's been there for me since I was a little boy, a little baby.
Joan James on
Facebook. Yeah. Not a real name.
Yeah.
That is not her real name.
No.
She, as a lot of people from that generation and older generations, have very limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
So
it was a different world.
It was a different world, right? None of this was even possible. Like this, But regardless,
before the entrepreneurial revolution,
you do have to be careful of. Her and I had a talk. We have a weird relationship, like we swear at each other. It's all love, but
it's all love.
We're a very weird family. But she asked me something, and I don't remember the specific question. And I said, yeah, you know why I'm not going to do that? Because you would do that. And I didn't mean it in a bad way.
Yeah.
I meant it from the aspect of like, that's why. She said, isn't that risky? And I said, yeah, it is. And that's exactly why you would never do it. And that's exactly why you're not in the path that I'm in. It was from a place of love, not like, fuck you, I'm not going to take advice from you.
Yeah.
But I understand that her mindset and my mindset aren't the same. So the advice she gives me is based off of her mindset.
It's important.
Which is super
to know
important.
that,
yeah.
to understand where it's coming from.
Right. And that's why we say if it's from a place of insecurity or whatever, self-consciousness.
Risk aversion.
Yeah. If you ask one of your close friends something and they're afraid you're going to outgrow them and leave them, their advice is not going to be sound. I'm sorry.
Even if they want it to be.
Yeah, whether it's consciously or unconsciously.
Yep.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing, man.
Yeah.
If
they feel on some level that you choosing this path is going to somehow distance you from them.
Yeah.
And they love you, which they do.
Right.
It's going their advice is going to be biased in a negative direction. It's
And
very difficult to have relationships where you have their best interest at heart regardless of yourself, because a lot of that connection is built on the subconscious level. So you have to really train that. I personally have had to train that. Like you said you had a past relationship where your girlfriend wanted to go to California.
Yeah.
And you were
I was actually going to bring that up, yeah.
Yeah, and you were afraid that would tarnish your
That would be
relationship.
it. Yep.
So you told her
I told her nope.
Not to do that.
So if you ask me the question, have you ever been on the other side of that coin? Have you ever been the person giving the shitty advice?
Yeah.
Whether consciously or
Do you think that was
subconsciously?
shitty advice?
Absolutely, it was terrible.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
She should have gone to California and did exactly what she felt. Like
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Amen, man. That's a hard situation though, because you're
It
in
is.
love.
It is.
You know?
But I think there are a lot of hard situations, and you can approach them by either tackling them as you know you should. I always tell people there's two answers. You know one of them is right, and the other one's the easy one. That's
Yeah.
how it always seems to be.
Yeah.
A lot of people take the easy one, but the easy one usually isn't the right one.
Yeah.
And you'll find that out later.
Yeah. Time always tells the truth.
You know, I learned after the fact that what I did, the advice I gave my insecure self was not good for this person. That was not good advice.
Yeah.
Thank God they didn't listen to me and they broke up with me and are doing their passions. Like, what if I
for her.
affected her entire life because of my insecurity?
I know.
Like, what?
Yeah, man. I'll never forget. I have an ex-girlfriend back in high school. This was actually right after Jenny, believe it or not. Jenny, who I'm currently with.
Jenny.
We also dated back in high school. For those
Hi,
of you who
Jenny.
don't know. Hi, Jenny, baby. Love you. But anyways, this is my girlfriend after that, which her name was Alyssa. She had a guidance counselor who told her she wanted to go to school, a particular school, and the guidance counselor said, no chance. Like, you'll never get in.
Right.
I was pissed because she absolutely could get in. And now because some guidance counselor doesn't believe in her, she doesn't believe in herself.
Right.
And that could have changed her whole life. That's like you being a football player back in flag football and you were told not to be quarterback. This happened to me. I was supposed to be, wide receiver because I'm tall and fast or whatever. And I still killed it, but I wanted to be quarterback.
Right.
I want to be the leader of the team. That's where I feel like I fit best. And I can throw a fucking cannon.
Uncle Rico.
I allowed that to seep into who I am, unfortunately, because I was a kid, and I'm no longer a receiver. Who knows what could have happened had I not taken that shitty advice?
No longer a quarterback.
I wasn't a quarterback. No, I
No,
was,
but you
I was
wanted to
running
be.
back. I wanted to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you said no longer a receiver. I didn't
Andy
know if that
Herco, you
meant-
remember Andy Herco?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was the quarterback. Me and
remember
Dave
Andy Herco.
Cook were running backs and wide receivers. We still killed it. I still got the ball every play. But,
Dave Cook. Shout out to Dave Cook on the, I believe he's on the Uxbridge Fire Department now.
Dave Cook. I haven't seen him in a minute.
Dave Cook.
But yeah, you got to be careful with advice because at the end
tough.
of the day, like in my heart, it was to be quarterback. I want to lead this team to victory. I have a good arm. I know I do. I still have a good arm. I should have followed that, man.
So
followed that.
giving advice is a super hard thing, right? Do you think of that when people reach out to you?
That it's difficult to give advice.
Get attacked by a bug over here. Yeah, like, do you... I've had moments where I'm like, oh, Jesus. Like, I'm about to give this person advice on life. Like,
Yeah.
life, a marriage,
big responsibility.
a divorce,
Yeah.
kids. Like, what... How do you know that you're giving the right advice?
So I think making it clear out of the gate that this is what I believe based on the data I have. But at the end of the day, you got to do what's good for you. How many times when you've asked me for advice, I've said
Every
that.
time.
Like, Kev, you got to do
Every time.
what's in your heart,
Every
whatever you're
single
most
time.
certain about.
Yep.
Now, here's the thing. If you're certain that path A is the right choice, and I come in and I say, but Kev, what about path B and all these reasons, right? All this logic, rationality. If my bringing more data to the table is going to make you less certain about A and more certain about B, I didn't change your heart. I just stirred the pot.
Right.
And then whichever you're more certain about after we've talked, it's just like the brainstorming sessions we always have. Like, we're trying to sharpen our philosophy. We're trying to stir all the data to the surface, look at it all from an objective place, and which thing has the most certainty. Because I'm sure there's a time in your life where you were so certain this certain thing was the way it was.
Oh, yeah.
And then you had a conversation, you're like, I never thought of it that way. Now your certainty shifted. It's still what's in your heart. It's just based on more information. Maybe you learned something that you didn't know before.
Right. What about... So this is a big one for entrepreneurs or people that are like trying to take an idea and turn it into something. What about people who don't necessarily see the behind the scenes? They don't necessarily see this. It might look like I'm going to do A, but A actually accomplishes A, B, C, D, E, F, and G.
Ooh.
Like in the way of like,
Yeah. And other people don't know that.
Right.
Or they don't see that.
Right.
Yeah.
So we'll use this as an example. You did, you had a big presentation you were working on.
Yeah.
Right. You basically did it for 2 or 3 days straight.
Yeah.
And I saw you at the gym.
Yes.
And I was thinking to myself,
Both days.
why is he at the gym?
When he said he was going to go
When he
all
said
in.
he was going all in on this.
Yeah, so you're saying when you say one thing, but it seems like you're doing
Yes.
another?
Yeah.
When in reality, what I was doing is I was at the gym with Jeff Beck, one of my mentors, who is a character reference for that same job. So that's fascinating, yeah. And not to mention, editing that presentation, doing that presentation, I needed a break.
Right.
I needed to get into my body and out of my head. So that was actually just because I said I'm going to focus on nothing else until this is accomplished. And then from an outside perspective, it's like, well, he's at the gym. I thought he was gonna,
Right.
I thought he was going to focus. It's like all of those steps I took were still in alignment
Right.
with what I thought was best to accomplish. What
And I think
needed
it's
to
huge that
accomplish.
people hear that, because I always say this quote, and I think it's true. I feel this way. I think most things are just 99.9% prep work.
Yeah.
And when I say that, what I mean is everything up until you actually make it is
Yeah.
prep work.
Okay.
There's only one time, like, say,
I love that.
you know what I mean?
So the quote that I always use, and I used this on the very first episode of the podcast,
Oh,
way
shout
back, which is a year and a half ago.
I don't know.
Yeah,
10
ago.
years. 26 years ago.
26 years ago.
I'm old and weathered.
What are we doing on time, by the way?
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
15. No, 15.
Yeah, I'll give you. Okay, good. Good. The quote that I always use is Tony Robbins. He says, don't forget that what people are rewarded for in public, they've practiced for years in private, sometimes decades.
Yeah.
You see the football star who wins the Super Bowl. They've been playing football for 30 years or 20 years or 15 years every day. That's the prep work.
Right.
The game is only on Sundays.
Right.
The prep work is practice
Right.
every year, every season, every week, right? So, I gave a speech. We talked about this earlier. I called myself a professional speaker a year before I gave my first speech. Why? Because I was preparing. I
Right.
was reading books. I was speaking in my driveway alone.
I think it's super important for people to know that, man.
I know. Because behind the curtain is so much different.
Right. Have you painted before? Have you ever painted?
No.
So-
yes. Yeah.
so-
up in Maine.
So this room that we're in right now, for those on YouTube, you'll see this nice blue hue on the walls. That is 0.1% of what painting this room was.
Yeah.
First, you got to take off what's on the wall.
Yep.
Then you got to sand down the wall. Then you got to clean up the sand, what you've sanded off the wall. Then you got to wipe down the wall to make sure there's nothing there.
Yeah.
Then you got to tape off what you're not painting. Then you got to pour the paint. You got to buy the brushes. You got to buy the rollers. Put down stuff on the floor, and then you paint.
And then you paint.
That's what everything is.
That's a great analogy.
It's
a great
analogies
analogy.
are my
So what you
thing.
see is this final result.
Right.
But you don't see everything that went into
Everything
it.
that went into it. I think that's how it is with most things. And now we're in an age of social media where you get to see a little bit more behind the curtain.
Yeah, but it's still such
But
a
it's still
fucking
controlled.
highlight reel.
Yeah, it's still controlled.
It's very controlled.
And that's why
it's very controlled.
That's why I think you and I need to continue admitting our faults, admitting our fuck-ups, telling people that nothing is perfect, and 9 times out of 10, it's not as it seems.
So here's the crazy thing. You and I, we're in shape. If you could sit here and try to fathom every step you've ever made, every little thing you've eaten, every gym session, every workout, every rep, every set, if you could somehow fathom all of those prep works into this is all people see. This is it.
Yep.
Hi, I'm Alan Lazarus. This is the first time you've ever seen me. What's going on? Shake my hand.
Right.
You have no clue. No fucking clue what that took unless you are that too.
Right. Right.
Just remember that. You have an idea of what it took because you've done it as well. But dude, it's so much more than meets the eye. It's nice to look good. It's nice to be in shape. It's the best to be in shape. But dude, like years and years
Yeah.
of every second of every day, drinking water, eating macros, like going to the gym, sleeping enough, like hydrate. It's everything. It's everything. And I think that that's how everything works. Like,
I think
podcasting from an outside perspective, it seems so easy,
Right.
man. It's such a challenge.
It's such a challenge. It's such a challenge. And there's always stuff going on that you'll never see.
You never see. Yeah.
You might see the final product. Like, you might see
You will see the final product.
well, yeah.
Or, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You'll see what you'll see, or you'll hear the new intro. You won't know how that came about or how long it took us to do that, or you'll see the new thumbnail.
Yeah, the thumbnail's sick.
Yeah, and like, where did that come from? Was that?
Thank you, Tom, for the reminder.
Yes, thank you, Tom.
Yep.
I think it's super important, man. And we were talking before the podcast, as we always do, and things don't ever come as fast as they seem they're going to.
Yeah.
And that's super important too, man.
I say hard work pays off eventually.
Yeah.
Key word is eventually.
Yeah. You got to do it for long enough.
I've been chasing my dreams significantly, like full time. I got out of corporate America, I think 3 years ago. A little more than 3 years ago. It just takes so much longer than you ever would have expected. My aunt, Joanne, this is why it's so important to have mentors. She coaches me. She said, Alan, this is going to take you this amount of time to get to this place. And I was like, yeah. Back then I was like, no way.
Right.
Like, what do you mean? Like, it's all good.
So you should have taken that advice.
I know.
Well, not taken.
So here's a good segue. So each person, Abraham Lincoln, great quote. He says, been reading up on him a lot lately. He says, I've never met a man or woman that I haven't learned from, but 99% of the time it's what not to do.
Right.
How do we know when to take advice and when not to? For example, if there's a personal trainer who's out of shape, I would err on the side of caution.
Right.
Don't listen to the fucking guy or girl. Seriously. Chances are if he's not practicing what he preaches, that he doesn't fucking know. Because you can know it in your head all day, but if you're not doing it, you don't know it as well as you or I do.
And how are you going to motivate me if I know you're not willing to do what I'm doing right now?
Exactly. If I want to be a quarterback, I'm going to Tom Brady. You know? So everyone should have sort of in your own frame, like you have your circle of friends, you have your dream team, you have your acquaintances, you have your mentors, you have your heroes. Figure out what their thing is that they're best at and try to take advice from them on that. Like Jenny will say this all the time, and I'll be frank. She's like, oh, I told you that months ago. Now Kevin says it and you're doing it. Well, if it's with regard to fitness, not that she doesn't know what she's talking about it with fitness, but with you, it's different. Like Nate, for example. I always say it's not what we learn, it's who we learn from. When it comes to aesthetics, I would take Jenny's advice over yours. Her place is beautiful.
Right.
She's beautiful. Every article of clothing, it's all beautiful. When it comes to how I dress, this is all Jenny. This is her advice. I'm not going to go to Kevin and say, hey, what do you think about my hair? He doesn't give a shit.
I don't give a fuck.
Exactly. So you got to cater the advice that you're trying to get to the people in what their thing is.
It's such a weird thing, man, because back to the both of our friends, a young lady who reached out trying to go back to school. She wanted to go back to school.
Yeah.
I think she reached out to both of us.
Yes.
The fact that all the information she had,
I know,
told her she couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And when I say information, I mean opinions of others mostly.
Yep.
That was her environment.
Yeah.
She got out of that environment and got into kind of our environment by asking us. And our advice was the total opposite. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
You just got to do it.
In the land of possibility.
Right. What a weird thing. Like, looking back, I wonder what she was thinking. Like, I guarantee she got the same advice from both of us. Guaranteed, right?
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yeah. Very similar, anyways.
I wonder, we always say it's important to realize what's on the other side. Like,
yeah,
when somebody reaches out, you kind of got to put yourself in their place, in their mindset, in all of those things. Sure. And it's like, what does she feel like? What does she feel like is it a overwhelming, oh, that's a lot. Like, I can do anything I want. That's a lot. Or is it like an open door? Is it a door that just opened that maybe she's been waiting to hear that her whole life?
Maybe.
I think your expectations and like your ultimate goals are going to not decide, but heavily affect the way you take advice.
So what do you mean by that? You mean like if I believe in myself?
Yes.
And then I'm going to take your advice differently than if I didn't.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Yeah.
And so let's talk about insecurity.
Real quick.
Okay, yeah, go.
This is something that came to me the other day.
Good.
Okay. So much, every single thing, it's a domino effect. Every single thing that happens in your life and what you take from it is a result of the way you think about yourself.
Yeah.
If perspective, the way, just, if you think you're ugly, you could have a million women messaging you every day,
Yeah.
right? And you'd be like, oh, I don't know, maybe must be my car, or it must be, oh, maybe they think, maybe they think I can help them with this or this or this. If you think you're the most handsome thing in the world, every single time somebody messages you, you're probably going to assume it's because they want to fuck you. I'm not saying either of those are right or wrong.
Yeah, but it's all based on
But
belief.
it's all based on your belief.
Your belief.
I don't think that has anything to do with this, but
No, it does. It does.
I wanted to say it.
So, have you ever heard the tabletop analogy where a belief is like a table? So the data, how strong your belief is going to be like a table with how many legs are under
Oh,
it. And
beautiful.
the data is the amount of legs under it. So how sturdy that table is, that belief, is going to be based on how many data points you have
Right,
to support it.
right.
So the unfortunate part about that is, let's say you do believe you're ugly. You're going to find reasons why that's true.
Right.
If you do think you're beautiful, you're going to find reasons why that's true. I have personally been around women who are, I believe, gorgeous beyond belief, who genuinely are self-conscious. And it's like, why? They honestly don't believe that they're beautiful,
Right.
even though they have all the data pointing to the contrary. If they needed a reason to be happy about the way they look, they could find it.
Just look at
in the
one of your
mirror.
photo shoots.
Yeah, look in the mirror, look
Right.
at all the praise you get, the fact that you're a cheerleader for an NFL team. And then I have other people who genuinely, in my opinion, are not that attractive, who think that they are. And their self-esteem is through the roof. To me, self-esteem is huge. Which belief would you choose? This is the body you're given. This
Yeah.
is the face you're given. This is the
Right.
why not believe that you're attractive and then act accordingly?
So isn't it almost, that's kind of like your heart? Like, this is what I was given, right? So I'm going to own it. I'm going to own what I have. Like,
Yeah.
again, we always go
And
back to the
improve
height
it.
thing. I'm not tall. I'm short.
Yes.
I would argue that in some cases that hurts me,
Yes.
right?
Okay.
I think you would agree.
Yes.
We talked about it. Like
Yeah.
the bar scene, not good for somebody who's 5'6", 5'5", around 6'4", 3", 2 dudes. It's just not good. It's not a good place.
4-3-2.
But
Yeah, I do believe that women want to be with men typically that are taller.
yeah,
Typically,
yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I get stilts on the way.
Okay, either
no,
way.
no, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. But my point is, where the fuck was I going with that?
You could choose to
Oh yeah,
dislike that
Right.
about yourself, or
Right.
you can choose to use it as an opportunity to get better.
yeah. Like what's the point?
We all have something we're insecure about.
For sure,
This is going
deep.
deep.
We never stay on topic either.
I know.
But no, I think we did better than we usually do. We got
Yeah,
5 minutes.
we
4
got 5 minutes.
What else?
If you have, they always say go to war with a circle of advisors. You have your dream team, you have your acquaintances, you have your friends, you have your family. Be very careful, I think, about who you seek advice from. Like, if you want fitness advice, don't go to someone out of shape. If you want advice on how to dress, don't go to someone who dresses like shit. They're going to still give you their opinions, especially if they love you, and they might still have value, but why roll the dice?
Right.
In my opinion.
I think so obviously this is a short episode, and I think we'll probably use this as a segue into the next solo episode we do is going to be on feedback and how the softening of media and the softening of the pussification of America. Whatever. Fuck it.
Yeah.
The pussification
Call
of
it
America.
that, yeah.
Feedback is in direct correlation with growth.
Yes.
We are limiting feedback. People don't want to hear feedback. They don't want to hear this. We can't say this word. You can't say that word. You can't say this word.
Yeah.
I think that is a mistake.
I do too.
I think it's short-sighted and it's a mistake. I think pressure makes diamonds, right?
We've talked about this before, but let's really bring this down to earth for people. So if you go and watch a Netflix show versus going to the gym, which one is going to make you feel inadequate?
The gym.
Especially if you're just getting started.
Yeah.
You've never gone, let me pre-frame it.
Right.
You've never gone to the gym before in your
Yeah.
life. You can either go to the gym and try to work out, and you're going to be very humbled because you've never been, and anything new is humbling. It's challenging.
Yep.
It's difficult. Or you can watch Netflix. Which one is going to give you feedback that might make you...
The gym.
Yeah.
The gym.
It's going to be harder, but it's also going to be more rewarding.
Right.
So the more the feedback, when you're chasing big goals and dreams, let's say, I say all these big dreams I get feedback constantly, and it's really hard sometimes
Yeah.
because it's from people that I love, and sometimes it's stuff I don't want to hear. It's their truth, and they're expressing their truth, and they want to express their truth, and as they should. Sometimes it's difficult. So I don't think that growth is possible without some feedback.
Right.
Like,
Dude, I saw something on Facebook today. They're trying to change the shape of Tide Pods because they look like candy. What are you fucking kidding me?
of Tide Pods?
Yeah.
Because people are eating
Because
them,
they're college kids.
and they're eating Tide
They're
Pods.
eating them. What?
Yeah.
They look like candy? These people know?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure there have been mix-ups where, like, maybe little kids have eaten them. But that's not what this is about.
That's not what
This is about viral videos of people biting into them.
Yeah.
Like, this is not an education issue. This is a stupidity issue.
Aren't those hand in hand?
No. There's a difference between being educated and not having common sense.
Okay.
I'm not highly educated. I have a lot of common sense.
Yeah, you do.
You know what I
I
mean?
would consider you very self-educated.
I want to yell.
Yes, shallow and pedantic.
My point is, why does everything
Well, now
has
we
to
know
get-
Kevin's opinion of educated people.
No, that's not it at all. You're super educated.
Oh, thank you.
And I think we work well together.
We do work well.
I just don't think that you're getting a certain result from something. The easiest way in most people's, like, especially, okay, people are eating Tide Pods.
Tide Pods.
Yeah. All right. Let's just get rid of them.
And people are dying.
People are dying.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people know about this, by the way. Or I certainly didn't.
Oh,
so
no,
what's happening?
Because
People are eating Tide Pods.
You don't consume Instagram.
So Instagram, people are eating Tide Pods on
Remember
video.
Remember the ice bucket challenge. Remember the Carlton where you dance. Whatever.
Okay.
It's just another challenge where people eat Tide Pods.
Okay.
This is not. People know what is in these Tide Pods. Like,
Yeah.
would you
Deadly
take a scoop
chemical.
of bleach? Probably not.
Deadly chemicals.
I think the issue, and then they just say immediately, we need Tide Pod reform. We need to get rid of these. They look too much like candy. That's not the issue.
No, it's
you need
not.
to tell these kids they're fucking idiots if they're taking part in this.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If I had a 16-year-old kid and I found out he was eating Tide Pods and videotaping it,
Yeah.
you think I'd say, oh, you know what? I think we got to get rid of Tide Pods. No, I think this kid needs to fucking figure his shit out.
Yeah. They're trying to fix the problem by not going to the
Fired
source
up
of the
there.
problem.
I know that doesn't have to do with this episode, but I
That's
think
a teaser for the next one.
I think that's a good teaser for the next
So
episode.
what do we want to end with when it comes to getting feedback, encouraging feedback, taking feedback for the value it actually provides, making sure it's coming from a place of your best interest,
Yeah.
and also giving feedback to others from a genuine place of their best interest?
I would say this. Start by just taking feedback. Because I would say that I was talking to somebody the other day, and we were talking about dating, and I said straight up, you shouldn't have a girlfriend. You shouldn't.
Interesting.
Because you're not willing to go out there and get the feedback. You can right swipe all day.
Oh,
you can
yeah,
left
yeah.
swipe all day. No
Yep.
feedback.
No feedback.
No
yeah.
feedback.
At least, no brutal feedback.
No brutal feedback.
Yeah.
I think you need to feel
Yep.
a little bit of feedback, whether good, bad. Hopefully, your first experience is a good one. It might not be, but it's not. The feedback is not going to kill you because you can do with the feedback with what you please.
So two people, three people, Fred, Ted, and Ed.
Fred, Ted, and Ed.
They all see a girl at the gym.
Yeah.
They all grew up together. They all look identical. They all have the same level of confidence, the same game. They all see this girl at the gym. She's hot, and they want to go. Hot. They want to go talk to her. They all go talk to her. Fred gets, hell yeah, let's go on a date. Ted gets rejected. Ed gets like really rejected and insulted. Fred, Ted, and Ed. So Fred is going to feel good about himself. Ted is going to feel like kind of like shitty, and Ed's going to feel the worst. What do you think in each of those scenarios they should each take that as?
So I would say Ted and Ed both got rejected.
Yes.
I think they should take it as okay.
Reasons to improve? So
Not necessarily.
What if they looked at it and said, okay, what could I have done better?
Then I think they all should do that.
They should all do that.
Yeah, they should all do that.
That's a fucking great answer.
Right, yeah.
I'm so
Not just
excited that you said that.
just the person who succeeded.
Matthew McConaughey has a commencement speech he said recently. He said, we should dissect our successes.
Oh, yeah.
We always focus on failure.
Right.
But like when we succeed, we should dissect that too and go, why is that working?
But
And
you
then
don't get
do
much
more of it.
You don't get much self feedback
when you
succeed.
But that's what we still got to dissect.
I know.
So Fred succeeded. He got the date. So he doesn't have to change anything.
Right. And
That's
a lot
the
of
value
people's-
of feedback.
Yeah.
If Winston Churchill quote, to change is to improve. To change often is to perfect. A lot of the things, people growing up, you grow up with this big group of friends. they want you to stay the same on a subconscious level because they love you for who you are now. When you start to change, it's scary for them because they think they might lose you. You got to change anyway.
Yeah. And for those thinking like, so these all go hand in hand with micro failures and macro success. Like if you're thinking, I don't know, you guys like talk about a lot of the same stuff. Every single bit of this is intertwined.
Oh yeah.
Every single bit of this is how you improve. Yeah. Like the reason you don't hear it that often is because a lot of people don't talk about it. So that's why it sounds like it's the same thing, because these are the fundamentals.
Fundamentals.
Yep.
And
bench press, squat, deadlift.
Exactly.
These are your fundamentals.
I was just going to say that. You wouldn't expect to go to the gym once and be fit for life.
Right.
These conversations change lives. This going hyperconscious is everything, and we do it every day.
Right.
And if you listen to this podcast, you'll start doing it more. You'll get around more people who do it more, and we'll all improve. Every single rep matters.
We need to go.
Yep.
And we're gonna hammer our pre-workouts and then drive down to see our good buddy Catherine, get a good workout in, get some good video in.
Yep.
And yeah.
Thank you all.
You want to plug before we go? I like to ask everybody that.
We love the reviews. Shout out to Vinny DeGeorge.
Yes.
He is doing some awesome stuff, potentially starting a brand. I just saw his logo. Love it, brother. Thank you for the shout out on the podcast.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the review. He loves the podcast. Shout out to you, man. Thanks again.
Yeah, I'm super grateful. People reaching out. It's been awesome. It's been great. It's been great.
We're going to keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah,
you guys keep doing what you're doing.
Exactly.
We're going to keep doing better every day.
We're going to keep doing what we do. You keep reaching out. You keep sending messages, keep liking, keep following, all that happy jazz.
Please and thank you.
The more reviews and the better rating we have on iTunes, the more people will be able to help. So if you rate us and like us, you'll be able to help more people as well.
Exactly. So. Where did you get, just the last thing.
Oh, sure.
When I said better every day, I thought about BEFD. You used to say that way back before we were friends. Mm-hmm. Where did you get that?
I made it up.
Better every fucking day?
Made it up.
You made it up.
Yep.
I love it. So
I'm an innovator, as they say.
You are an innovator and a scholar.
A scholar.
And a painter. Well, you said you painted this room.
I paint pictures in people's minds.
All right,
ladies and gents, we're going to go to the gym, crush back. And if you haven't gone to the gym yet, fucking do it.
Do it.
And get yoked.
Spring's coming.
All right.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.